Hi there. Welcome to the new series of tutorials. Today we are going to see how to install HortonWorks Sandbox 2.x series on VirtualBox on Windows. So to start this, first go to the HortonWorks.com. So here you can see I'm already on the HortonWorks page. Then you can see there's something called as HTTP Sandbox. Click on that. Okay. Let me refresh the connection. Okay. Then you can go to the download and install tab. So here you can see there are HortonWorks distributed sandboxes available for VirtualBox, VMware, and Hyper-V. So I'm going to download the HTTP 2.1 sandbox to execute on VirtualBox because I have a VirtualBox running on Windows. So if you have Mac, you can install download VirtualBox and install Sandbox on it. Or if you have VMware Fusion, then you can download the VMware link, the second one, which you can see here. So let's download this. Okay. 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 Sorry, this is the link. So once you click on that link, it's basically shows HortonWorks Sandbox 2.1 OVA. Right. So I'm going to cancel this because I've already downloaded it. So a few things before you actually start with loading this into the VirtualBox. So few requisites. Everyone has to make sure that those are fulfilled. So first is the host. You need to have a 64-bit machine with the chipset that supports virtualization. So for this, if you're not sure, check your documentation of your laptop or system or contact your IT department. And even though if the virtualization is set, it may be disabled in the BIOS. So get into the BIOS, go to the advanced options and enable the virtualization support. And the other requirements are you need to have either Windows 7, Windows 8 or a Mac box with you. And HTTP is supported by Google Chrome, latest version of Google Chrome, Firefox, and Internet Explorer 9. So this sandbox will not work, or the browser-based functionality will not work with Internet Explorer 10. So you should go with Internet Explorer 9. And the requirements of RAM, you need to have at least 4 GB so that HTTP runs seamlessly. So for that, you need to make sure that your physical box has at least 8 GB of physical RAM. And if you want to run Ambari in the virtual box, you need to make sure that you need to at least give 8 GB of RAM only to the virtual machine. Right? So I'm going to fire up my virtual box here. So this is a default window that opens up when you start up the virtual box in the beginning. The only thing is you will not see these different options. So these are various different virtual machines which I have installed. So first thing is click on the file preferences and go to the input in the left navigation bar, and uncheck the auto capture keyboard if it's already there. By default it will be enabled something like this, and just make sure that's disabled. Now go to the file, import appliance option. So this is the import appliance screen, and VirtualBox currently supports importing appliances which are saved in open virtualization formats, OVF or OVA. So click on the browse button here, and this is my HortonWorks Sandbox 2.1 which I downloaded earlier. Select that and click on open. Then you can just click on the next button. So this is the appliance setting page where you can just double click on the name or any of the options and just change the names of those, right, to suit your needs. So you can see by default it says it's Sandbox, vendor is HortonWorks, version is 2.1, and the guest OS is Red Hat 64-bit, and CPUs by default allocated are 2 because I have a quad-core CPU, and if I want I can just increase or decrease, and by default it has assigned 4 GB of RAM, and I can again increase or decrease based on the requirements which I have. So those are the changes which you need to have. And again, the final option, specify the path in your host machine where do you want to save the virtual disk image, and just click on the import option. So this is going to take at least a couple of minutes. So again, importing the virtual disk is dependent on the number of CPUs you have assigned and the amount of RAM the user has specified in the appliance settings. So if you are given just 1 GB or 2 GB of RAM, it might probably take anywhere like 20 to 30 minutes. So let's give it some time so that the import is complete before we proceed to start. So switch on the sandbox and look at the basic sandbox screen. So you can see it's almost getting done. So one tip is if you try to just create a new virtual machine and try to select the OVF file, the virtual machine will not identify the OVF format. So the best thing is to go to the file option and import it explicitly. So here you can see that it has imported the sandbox, HortonWorks. So let me enlarge this. So if you want to tweak any settings, you can again select that sandbox, go to the settings, and you can basically change the name. So if you want to enable drag and drop, you can make it bidirectional, and the same with the drag and drop option. And similarly, you can change the base memory, what you want to assign, and the number of CPUs you want to provide. Just click on OK. So let's turn on the sandbox. So just select the virtual machine or sandbox which we created and press the start button here. So HortonWorks or HTTP platform also uses CentOS 64-bit, similar to the Cloudera. So once when the system is booted, if you find that the console has captured the mouse and keyboard, what you can do is you can just right click and then press OK, and then the mouse will be released. So let's wait for the VM to boot up completely. So by default you can see that there is MySQL, Postgres by default getting started, and some virtual guest additions being added as well. And it started the name node, secondary name node, and the data node by default. And now it's starting the Uzi service and starting the Zookeeper component for distributed configuration. Let me switch this to a scale mode so then it can be seen easily. And here you can see some other services coming up, basically HDFS, Hive server, Yarn history server, Node manager, and MapRead history server, which are the components. So basically Yarn, Node manager, MapRead history server, these are the new components in Hadoop 2.0. So let's wait for some more time so that all the basic services of Hadoop are started. So once all the required services are started, the console is going to display the login instructions on how to log into the sandbox. Okay. So now all the basic services have been started and is starting the sandbox, which is going to enable the GUI based option. So it's going to start the GUI version of Hadoop called Hue. Okay, so these are the basic instructions. So what you can do is you can open a browser on your host machine and enter this particular address 127.0.0.1 colon 8888, or you can directly log in using an external terminal with this command ssh root at 127.0.0.1 hyphen p2222. So okay, this is my login screen. So once you first log in into the sandbox of HortonWorks, it's going to ask some details of username, password, sorry, username, email address, and phone number. Right. So once you provide that information, it's going to load this page for you, where there are a lot of tutorials. So something section called Getting Started with Hadoop. Right. So you can click all the tutorials and you can load them. Then you can try out new features, or if you want to navigate to the web interface of HTTP, you can just click on this particular link. So let me try to open and show it to you. And here by default the password would be password. So this is my HortonWorks sandbox, and this is the shell or the GUI of Hue. And here you can click on the update just to make sure that all the latest tutorials are updated, right? So it's going to connect to the internet, pull out all the latest tutorials, and by default you can see that there are different components enabled as part of this sandbox. One is the Hue, which is the current screen which we are on. And the second thing is the HortonWorks development platform, and this is shipped with Hadoop 2.4.0, which is the latest version, and also comes with the Pig, Apache Pig, then Hive catalog, H catalog, Uzi, which is again a scheduling tool for Hadoop, and Ambari, which is an analytics tool. And if you have sufficient memory of 8 GB, right, if you can spare that for the virtual machine, you can just enable it right here. And it also ships with HBase 0.98 version along with Knox, Storm, and Falcon, right? So and the second thing is, if you want to log into this particular HTTP sandbox, what you can just do is you can press Alt F5, and you can log in as root user, and password is Hadoop, right? And you can start developing your MapReduce scripts right away. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you had enjoyed my video. Thanks for watching.